Alright you guys, so we got the OG's motor all tore apart. This was supposed to be a time-lapse video, but I've never had this happen before. On my other phone, files corrupted when they were trying to sync over to iCloud, so I lost all the footage for that. So we're gonna do a summary of what I found. So let's get into it. Here's the good stuff over here. As you can tell, one of those pistons looks a little bit f***ed, right? Yeah. So if you remember from the one video when I was talking about how we had a dead hole in 5 and how there was a crack 3/4 of the way across the piston, yeah, this is the number 5 piston. And little did I know there was that damage on the side because my borescope could only turn a certain amount when the piston was about up to here, so I only could see about like this much of the actual picture, what it was telling me. But anyways, back to this. So yeah, little did I know I was missing a chunk of the piston and blew the whole skirt out, so that's great. Gotta love a Bluetooth skirt. That's what it's supposed to look like, and that's a f***ed up one, so not too ideal. Yeah, here's the rest of what it looks like. I should buy a lottery ticket with how lucky I got damage-wise, because this could have been a whole lot worse. Whole lot worse. But yeah. So there's that. That's the best damage that I got. So, and then the other stuff from 3 through 6 all had very minor rod bearing damage. It's not like, oh my God, it spun it and, you know, the bearing got hot and all that stuff. No, it's just like a scratch or two. So I have one pulled apart, for example, right there. And that was pretty much the common spots where I was finding the damage at, was kind of where it connected up to, up in here, you know what I mean? So that's how it pretty much looks on all the other stuff, so I'm not gonna bother showing you. I just want to show you one just to get an idea. Here is the other stuff. There's a chunk of metal right there. There's a chunk of metal right there. You can see it's kind of gray because it's got metal going throughout this whole thing. You can see a little bit of sparkles right there. Obviously over here, art class, gotta like that. But yeah, that's a piece of skirt right there, and that's probably another piece of skirt, and there's probably stuff way back in here. But yeah, there's chunks in there, but that's to be expected with what we found. So, and then another thing I forgot to mention, but when I pulled the first head off, I actually found a big piece of skirt in the number 1 lifter tray. So that was pretty interesting to find. Cylinder heads are actually okay, surprisingly. There was one, right here, right along the seat, right here. But it's not on the seat. It's really hard to tell. Right there. It's literally perfectly in between the valves. What else? Oh yeah, main bearings. So all these main bearings that have X's on them, they have some sort of damage. For example, like right in there, that's where it's catching. On all these, there's pretty much damage relatively in the same spot and the same type of damage, so I'm not gonna bother showing you all of that. Let's show you the other part of those bearings. So I'm gonna turn this motor over. So here's what the other part of the bearings look like. Definitely see that scratch right there. That thing's catching hard. But yeah, you got that right here. It's hard to tell. It might not be a spot. It's not as blatant as how number 1 is right there. You can just clear as day. All right, y'all, I just want to add in something real quick. Just the marks from that skirt letting go off of the number 5 piston. Just the marks that it left on the bottom of the cylinder walls here. that's some more damage. Let me turn this motor back over so I can show you the damage on number 5 for the cylinder wall. Here's what number 5 looks like. Probably thinking, oh, how is it not scored like really bad? Your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. The only spot that I found was right here. Was the only spot. Yeah, right in here. You kind of can see my finger skip across a little bit. But yeah, let me get my light so you can see the marks. Yeah, there's the marks right there. But I mean, honestly, it's nothing. But yeah, that's what we found. You're probably wondering, why is there still some studs left in there? They rounded out, so let the machine shop deal with that. The previous owner kind of torqued the shit out of these studs, so trying to get them out were horrible. End up breaking one of my grip edge things in there. After I broke it loose and it wasn't even tight in there, I was buzzing out with my, ratchet, and then I decided to let go. So if you buy grip edge, use it for low torque applications. Yes, it has the RBT, like the non-round out stuff, whatever you call it. They'll still round out. They're good for the right situation, but they're not to the company, but just being honest. So you don't want to have that happen somewhere else and be 10 times worse. So just want to put a little disclaimer out for that. But yeah, that's the end of the video. So appreciate you guys for watching this, and I'll see you in the next one.